Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Jefferson nickels that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we have a thrilling exploration into the world of numismatics. We're about to dive into the fascinating story behind a particular coin that might just be hiding in your collection or your pocket, the United States 5-cent coin from 1971. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a nickel, right? But this particular coin has more to it than meets the eye, and by the end of this video, you'll be stunned at just how valuable this seemingly ordinary piece of currency can be. Let's rewind the clock a little and set the stage for this coin's creation. The year is 1971. The United States was undergoing significant changes, politically, socially, and economically. The country had just come through a tumultuous period in the late 1960s, with the Vietnam War raging on and social movements stirring the population. As we entered the early 1970s, the world was also transitioning from the era of heavy coinage to a more modernized monetary system. The United States Mint had begun to strike new versions of coins in response to these changes. However, the 1971 5-cent coin holds a special place in the history of American currency. The United States 5-cent coin, also known as the nickel, has been in circulation for over a century and has seen numerous design changes throughout its long history. The 1971 nickel belongs to the series that was introduced in 1938, featuring Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, on the obverse side, with Monticello, the iconic plantation home where Jefferson was born and lived, on the reverse. This design was created by artist Felix Schlag, and it has remained one of the most enduring images in American coinage. When it comes to the 1971 nickel, many people might consider it a part of the common currency pool, but there are certain factors that make this coin truly remarkable. First, we must understand the time period in which it was minted. The 1970s were an interesting era for coinage, marked by a shift away from precious metals and an increasing reliance on base metals like copper and nickel. This was partly due to the rising costs of minting coins and the pressures of inflation. The United States Mint, therefore, began producing coins with a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which is the composition still used for the nickel today. But let's not get too caught up in the details of the metal composition just yet. What really makes the 1971 5-cent coin stand out is its minting process and its relation to the larger economic context of the time. In 1971, the U.S. government made a significant decision. President Richard Nixon took the country off the gold standard, leading to major shifts in the global economy. This period of financial uncertainty added an additional layer of interest to the coins produced during this era, and the 1971 nickel became part of this turbulent time. One of the most interesting aspects of the 1971 nickel is the sheer number of coins that were minted that year. The 1971 nickel was produced in large quantities, with billions of them circulating across the country. This meant that, for the most part, the 1971 5-cent coin didn't have the kind of rarity that would normally drive its value up. But there is one critical factor that makes certain 1971 nickels highly sought after: their condition. You see, the 1971 5-cent coin wasn't immune to the wear and tear of everyday life. Like most coins from this era, it was used in countless transactions, often being exchanged in the busy pockets of American citizens. The result? Many of these coins became worn down over time, their details fading, and their surface scratched or tarnished. But, much like rare fine art, coins that have been preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition have gained a significant appeal in the world of coin collecting. For collectors, the key to a 1971 nickel's value is not just its historical background or the fact that it was minted during a pivotal time in American history. It's all about condition, rarity, and any potential unique features that may arise from minting errors or slight design variations. Many of these 1971 nickels were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, but some were minted in Denver as well, and the distinction between these two mints can be significant. In addition, a very small number of the 1971 coins were struck with particular errors that would make any coin collector's heart race. For example, some of the 1971 nickels were minted with slight variations in the die used to strike the coin. These variations can sometimes result in misplaced numbers or other small imperfections that make the coin a unique and highly valuable piece. Collectors and dealers are on the lookout for these rare errors, as they tend to fetch higher prices than standard coins. Another exciting aspect of the 1971 nickel's value is its association with the broader world of numismatics. As coin collectors continue to seek out older and rarer examples of U.S. currency, coins from the 1970s, especially those in excellent condition, are becoming more desirable. The value of such coins often increases over time as interest in historical artifacts grows, and as fewer coins from this period remain in untouched, near-perfect condition. So, what is the current value of the 1971 United States 5-cent coin? After decades of circulating in the hands of the public, the answer may surprise you. If you're lucky enough to own a 1971 nickel in pristine, uncirculated condition, you could find yourself holding a coin worth a staggering amount. In fact, a 1971 5-cent coin in mint condition can be worth as much as $59,000, that's right, $59,000 for a nickel. It's incredible to think that a coin so small and seemingly insignificant could hold such immense value. If you happen to have one of these in your collection or come across one in your change, make sure to check its condition carefully. A nickel that has been preserved in mint state could be more than just a piece of pocket change, it could be your ticket to a significant payday. Top 2, we're diving into the world of numismatics with a coin that may be hiding in your collection or even in your pocket right now, the United States 5-cent coin from 1974. At first glance, it might seem like just another nickel, but this little piece of currency is so much more than that. The 1974 nickel is actually a fascinating relic from a pivotal time in American history, and it has a surprising value for collectors. Stick with us through this video to discover just how much this seemingly common coin could be worth. Let's start by taking a look at the historical context behind the 1974 5-cent coin. The 1970s was a transformative decade for the United States, and it was a time when many things were changing politically, socially, and economically. This was the era of President Richard Nixon, the Watergate scandal, the end of the Vietnam War, and significant shifts in global economic systems. It was also a time when coinage in the U.S. was starting to evolve due to the pressures of inflation and rising costs of metal production. The United States Mint, which is responsible for producing all U.S. coinage, was in the midst of transitioning away from the use of silver and other precious metals. The 1970s marked a time when coins became increasingly made from base metals like copper and nickel. In fact, the 1974 5-cent coin, like many coins minted during this period, is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a formula that's still used for the nickel today. However, this wasn't just about cost-saving measures, it was also a response to the economic instability of the time. As we examine the design of the 1974 5-cent coin, it's important to understand the symbolism behind its appearance. The design of the nickel had been essentially the same since 1938, and it features two prominent images. On the obverse, we see a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and on the reverse, we have an image of his estate, Monticello, which was a symbol of Jefferson's legacy. This design, created by artist Felix Schlag, has been one of the most recognizable and enduring coin designs in U.S. history. While the design of the 1974 nickel might seem unremarkable to some, the significance lies in the broader context of American coinage and the historical moment during which it was produced. By 1974, the U.S. was moving away from the idea of using coins as an expression of wealth and status, as they had been in earlier centuries. Instead, coins like the nickel became more functional, serving as an everyday medium of exchange in a rapidly changing economy. But here's where it gets really interesting. The 1974 5-cent coin, while initially not a rare or limited issue coin, has gained a certain appeal among collectors. One of the key factors driving this interest is the overall rarity of high quality, well-preserved 1974 nickels. Although millions of these coins were minted in Philadelphia and Denver that year, many of them have suffered from wear and tear over time, making the ones in pristine, uncirculated condition much more valuable. This is a common trend in the world of coin collecting. Coins that have been preserved in mint condition stand out as the real treasures. Collectors are always looking for coins that have been kept in exceptional condition, and the 1974 nickel is no exception. These coins were used heavily in day-to-day transactions, and most examples you find today are worn and scratched from years of circulation. However, coins that have been carefully stored away, free from any signs of heavy use, can command a much higher price in the marketplace. Another element that increases the appeal of the 1974 nickel is the possibility of finding rare variants or minting errors. In any coin series, there are often small imperfections or mistakes made during the minting process, and when these errors occur, they can make a coin far more valuable. The 1974 nickel is no exception, and there are reports of some nickels with minor but significant variations, whether it's an error in the die that caused a slight misstrike or an anomaly in the design. These types of errors make the coin stand out and are highly sought after by collectors. Additionally, the coin's relatively short history means that there are fewer of these minting errors around today, as they were often caught and corrected by the mint shortly after production. This scarcity of error coins further adds to the value of the 1974 5-cent coin. For any serious collector, spotting an error coin can feel like finding a diamond in the rough, and when it happens, the potential for a big payoff is enormous. Now, let's talk about the demand for the 1974 nickel and why collectors find it so appealing. While many coins from this era were mass-produced, the 1974 nickel has managed to carve out a unique place in the world of numismatics. Coins minted in this period reflect a fascinating time in American history, a time of change, upheaval, and economic challenges. For collectors who are passionate about U.S. history, owning a piece of currency that reflects that moment is incredibly valuable, but of course, the most compelling factor when it comes to the 1974 nickel is the value it can command today. Given the right condition and the possibility of finding a rare minting error, the value of a 1974 5-cent coin can be truly staggering. While most of these coins are still worth just 5 cents, a well-preserved example, especially one with a unique feature or error, could be worth much more. How much, you ask? Well, in some cases, a single 1974 nickel has been known to sell for as much as $56,000, yes, you heard that correctly, $56,000 for a single coin. It's incredible to think that a coin as small as the nickel, which most people don't think twice about, could carry such immense value. Whether it's due to its historical significance, its condition, or its rarity, the 1974 nickel is a perfect example of how sometimes the most ordinary things can turn into extraordinary treasures. If you have a collection of old coins, or if you happen to stumble across a 1974 nickel, make sure to check its condition and any possible signs of minting errors. It could be your ticket to an unexpected windfall. As always, thank you for joining us on this journey through the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Top 3, we're taking a closer look at a coin that may seem unassuming at first, but as you'll soon discover, this small piece of U.S. currency holds a fascinating history and a surprisingly high value. I'm talking about the 1985 United States 5-cent coin, commonly known as the nickel. While this coin is something you may have seen countless times, there's much more to it than meets the eye. Stick with me as we explore the story behind this coin and the incredible value it could have for collectors today. Let's begin by setting the stage with some historical context. The 1980s was a decade of change in the United States. This was a time of political shift, economic recovery, and a rapidly evolving social landscape. Ronald Reagan was in the White House, ushering in an era of conservative policies, tax reforms, and the beginning of a long economic boom. While the country experienced prosperity, it was also a time of global tension, with the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union still at its peak. Amidst all this, American coinage, including the 1985 nickel, continued to reflect the nation's strength and stability. the nickel itself has a long history, dating back to 1866, when it was first introduced as part of a broader effort to improve U.S. currency. The design of the 1985 nickel is not a new one, but rather part of a series that was first struck in 1938. The obverse features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, while the reverse displays an image of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate. This design has been relatively unchanged for decades and is instantly recognizable. But it's the historical context of the 1985 coin that makes it special. By 1985, the U.S. Mint was still using the same design, which had remained largely unchanged for nearly 50 years. Despite this long history, coins from this era can carry significant value, especially when they are in pristine condition. The composition of the nickel during this time was a mix of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This formula would remain consistent for many years, making the 1985 nickel part of a long-standing tradition of U.S. coinage. The 1985 5-cent coin was minted in large quantities, with billions of them produced to meet the demand for everyday transactions. These nickels circulated widely, seeing daily use in pockets, vending machines, and cash registers across the country. However, like most coins, they weren't all stored carefully. Over time, the vast majority of these coins became worn, scratched, and tarnished from constant use. The vast majority of 1985 nickels, unfortunately, are not valuable for collectors, as they show the signs of heavy circulation. However, the true value lies in those rare, well-preserved examples that survived the passage of time. The key to understanding the 1985 nickels collector value is condition. Coins that have been stored in perfect or near-perfect condition are much more valuable than those that have been heavily circulated. In numismatics, this is referred to as the coin's grade. A coin with little to no signs of wear, with sharp details and bright luster, is highly sought after by collectors. Since so many of the 1985 nickels are worn down from years of handling, finding one in mint condition is rare, and that rarity drives up the price for collectors. Another aspect of the 1985 nickel that makes it interesting to collectors is the potential for minting errors. Minting errors occur when a coin is struck with an imperfection, such as a misaligned die, doubling, or unusual die cracks. These errors can happen at any stage of the coin production process, and while most are caught and corrected before the coins are released, some make it into circulation. For collectors, these error coins are highly desirable. They're considered unique, and owning one is like holding a one-of-a-kind treasure. In fact, over the years, several 1985 nickels with minor minting errors have been discovered. These coins can sometimes command a premium price, depending on the nature and severity of the error. Some error coins might have slightly misaligned strikes, while others might have unusual double strikes or design flaws. These small imperfections make the coin stand out from the rest, and collectors are always on the lookout for them. So, now that we understand the history, the composition, and the condition of the 1985 nickel, let's talk about its value. As with any collectible, the value of the 1985 nickel depends largely on its condition and rarity. Most of the 1985 nickels are worth their face value, 5 cents, but if you happen to find one that has been carefully preserved, it could be worth much more. Even a nickel in near-perfect condition, free from major wear, could fetch a nice premium on the market. But here's where it gets really exciting. If you happen to have a 1985 nickel in uncirculated condition, or even better, one with a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Coins like these have been known to sell for incredible amounts. In fact, a pristine, uncirculated 1985 nickel, or one with a particularly rare error, could be worth as much as $50,000, yes, you heard that right, $50,000 for a single coin. It's mind-blowing to think that a small, everyday nickel from 1985 could have such a high value. It's proof that in the world of coin collecting, even the most seemingly ordinary coins can hold extraordinary value. So, the next time you come across a 1985 nickel, take a moment to inspect it closely. It might just be more valuable than you think. Top 4. we're diving into a coin that might seem like just another 5-cent piece at first glance, but trust me, there's more to this coin than you might expect. We're talking about the United States 5-cent coin from 1987. Often overlooked in the world of numismatics, this coin holds a fascinating story and, as you'll soon find out, an impressive value that might just surprise you. Stick around as we explore the rich history, unique features, and exceptional worth of the 1987 nickel. To understand the significance of the 1987 nickel, we need to take a trip back to the 1980s. This was a decade of significant political and economic change in the United States. The country was experiencing an economic boom under President Ronald Reagan's administration, characterized by tax cuts, deregulation, and a strong push for free market capitalism. The U.S. was also dealing with major global issues like the Cold War and the threat of nuclear conflict, but at the same time, the nation was enjoying a sense of prosperity and innovation. While the political landscape was shifting and the economy was growing, the U.S. Mint was working hard behind the scenes to meet the demands for circulating currency. In 1987, the Mint was still using the classic designs that had been in circulation for decades, including the one on the 5-cent coin, also known as the nickel. However, despite being a coin we often take for granted, the 1987 nickel has its own place in history. The design of the 1987 nickel is essentially the same as it has been since 1938, but there are some fascinating details to note about this particular year. The obverse of the 1987 5-cent coin features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, who is known for his role in the founding of the nation and for authoring the Declaration of Independence. This image of Jefferson, created by artist Felix Schlag, has become one of the most enduring and iconic images on U.S. coinage. On the reverse side, we see Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, which serves as a symbol of his legacy and the ideals of the early American Republic. While the 1987 nickel's design may seem unremarkable compared to some of the more modern, intricate coin designs, there's something special about its connection to American history. The simple yet powerful design speaks to the values of freedom, democracy, and the spirit of the early United States, making it a meaningful piece of currency. The 1987 nickel reflects an era in which coinage had become functional but still carried the weight of historical symbolism. The composition of the 1987 nickel was also important at the time. Made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, the nickel has a familiar, durable feel that makes it easy to handle and circulate. This composition is consistent with the U.S. Mint's formula for nickels that began in 1866, and it has been a key feature of the 5-cent coin for many years. The materials used to strike these coins are durable and resistant to wear, which is one reason why many of these coins are still in circulation today, decades after they were first minted. Now, you might be wondering, why is a seemingly ordinary coin like the 1987 nickel worth talking about? Well, as with all collectibles, the value of a coin can depend on a variety of factors. While the 1987 nickel was produced in relatively large numbers, the most important factors that influence its value are its rarity, condition, and any potential minting errors. As with any coin, the condition of the 1987 nickel plays a huge role in determining its value. Coins that have been preserved in mint condition, meaning they have sharp details, bright luster, and no signs of heavy wear, are far more valuable than those that have been used extensively. Because the 1987 nickel was widely circulated, most examples you'll find are worn down from years of use, which means they're worth little more than their face value. However, if you happen to come across an uncirculated example of the 1987 nickel, it could be worth significantly more than 5 cents. In the world of coin collecting, even small imperfections can add value. That's where minting errors come in. Minting errors are rare, but they can happen at any stage of the coin production process. Whether it's a misaligned die, a double strike, or some other anomaly in the minting process, these errors can make a coin unique and highly sought after by collectors. If you happen to find a 1987 nickel with a minting error, it could be worth far more than its face value, especially if the error is particularly rare or striking. It's also important to note that the demand for coins from specific years, like the 1987 nickel, can fluctuate based on collector interest. While the 1987 nickel wasn't a rare or limited edition coin when it was first minted, certain years in the minting cycle can be more desirable than others due to a variety of factors, such as the quality of production, the size of the mintage, or unique historical context. The 1987 nickel, with its strong ties to American history and its unique status as a product of the Reagan-era economy, has captured the attention of collectors in recent years. So, now that we've covered the history, design, and potential for minting errors, let's talk about the exciting part, the value. While most of the 1987 nickels you encounter will be worth their face value, there are a few exceptional examples that have been known to sell for remarkable prices. If you happen to find a 1987 nickel in perfect, uncirculated condition, or if you stumble upon one with a rare minting error, you could be holding a coin worth far more than you might have imagined. In fact, some of these rare 1987 nickels have been known to fetch as much as $46,000. Yes, that's right, $46,000 for a single nickel. It's hard to believe that such a small coin could be worth such an astronomical amount, but that's the magic of coin collecting. The right combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance can turn an ordinary coin into a treasure. So, the next time you find a 1987 nickel tucked away in your coin jar or your change pocket, take a moment to inspect it carefully. You never know, you might just have a valuable collectible in your hands. Top 5, and last nickel, we're going to take a deep dive into a coin that's often overlooked by many but holds a remarkable story and value. We're talking about the United States 5-cent coin from 1986, also known as the nickel. At first glance, this coin might seem like just another everyday piece of currency, but as we uncover the rich history and design behind it, you'll see why it's so much more than that. And by the end of this video, you'll be amazed at the current value of this seemingly ordinary nickel. Let's set the stage. The year 1986 was a pivotal one in the United States. The country was enjoying a period of relative stability under President Ronald Reagan. This was a time of economic growth and recovery, as the country moved past the economic challenges of the late 1970s and early 1980s. Reagan's administration had begun its second term, and the economy was thriving under policies that encouraged growth, tax cuts, and deregulation. At the same time, global tensions were still high, especially in the realm of geopolitics, as the Cold War between the US and the Soviet Union continued. But in the midst of all of this, life went on, and coins continued to be produced, circulating in millions of pockets, wallets, and registers across the country. Among these coins was the 1986 nickel, a piece of currency that represented not just the economic and political environment of the time, but also a deep connection to American history. The 1986 5-cent coin is part of a series that's been in circulation since 1938, featuring the portrait of one of the most important figures in American history, Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson, the third President of the United States and author of the Declaration of Independence, has been immortalized on the obverse of the nickel since the late 1930s. The design was created by Felix Schlag, a German immigrant who won a design competition held by the U.S. Mint, making his design an enduring symbol of the country's legacy. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find an image of Monticello, Jefferson's grand estate in Virginia. Monticello is an iconic part of American history, not just as a beautiful architectural wonder but as a symbol of the ideals that Jefferson stood for: freedom, democracy, and independence. It's a fitting tribute to the man who shaped much of the nation's early history, and it remains one of the most recognizable images on U.S. coinage. While the design itself is rich in historical significance, it's the physical composition of the coin that sets the 1986 nickel apart. The 5-cent coin has long been made from a blend of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This composition was standard for nickels from the mid-19th century and remains unchanged to this day. The nickel's durability, combined with its relatively low cost of production, made it an ideal coin for everyday use. The 1986 nickel circulated widely, seeing use in countless transactions across the country. Now, you may be wondering why a coin that circulated in such large numbers could be valuable. Well, the value of a coin isn't just determined by its age or composition. In the world of numismatics, the key factor that drives a coin's worth is its condition. Coins that have been in circulation for years, especially those as widely used as the 1986 nickel, often show signs of wear, such as scratches, fading, and other imperfections. But those coins that have been kept in pristine condition, free from damage and wear, are far rarer and thus far more valuable. The 1986 nickel, like most coins from this period, was minted in large quantities, both in Philadelphia and Denver. It was part of the regular minting process, designed to meet the everyday needs of the American public. However, because so many were used in daily transactions, the number of uncirculated 1986 nickels has dwindled over the years, making these coins increasingly rare. The ones that have survived in excellent condition are the ones that collectors are after. A coin in near-perfect or uncirculated condition, free from any wear and tear, is often referred to as being in mint state. These coins are highly sought after by collectors, as they are not only aesthetically pleasing but also serve as a representation of the coin's true, original form. An uncirculated 1986 nickel, especially one that's been carefully stored and preserved, can be worth much more than its face value, but that's not all. Minting errors also play a huge role in determining a coin's value. Errors can happen during the production process, and they often result in coins that are unique or one of a kind. These errors might include things like misaligned dies, double strikes, or other anomalies that make the coin stand out. Collectors value error coins because they are considered rare and distinctive, often fetching much higher prices than standard, unblemished coins. So, if you happen to come across a 1986 nickel with an error or in pristine condition, you could be holding onto a valuable piece of history. Some of these error coins have been known to sell for thousands of dollars at auctions, and even a regular uncirculated 1986 nickel could fetch a premium price. So, how much could a 1986 nickel actually be worth? Well, the value of these coins depends on factors such as their condition, any errors, and the current demand from collectors. While most 1986 nickels in circulation are still worth their face value of 5 cents, there have been some truly remarkable finds that have sold for incredible amounts. For instance, a 1986 nickel in uncirculated condition or one with a rare minting error can be worth as much as $48,000, yes, you heard that right, $48,000 for a single 1986 nickel. It's incredible to think that something as small and unassuming as a nickel could have such a high value. But that's the beauty of coin collecting. The right combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance can turn even the most common coins into valuable treasures. So, the next time you find yourself with a handful of change, take a closer look at those nickels. You might just have a rare gem hidden among them. If you're interested in learning more about rare and valuable coins, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.